Hey everyone, welcome back to A Seat at My Table. This is Chef Luis Sanchez, and today we're gonna make something that we make at my household probably once a week, which is a chicken stew. It's just a very simple one-pot wonder kind of dish. My favorite thing to cook really are things that happen all in one pot, and this is something that my 8-year-old and my 4-year-old love, and it's great for this kind of colder weather in California that we're having right now. It's easy to make, easy to follow, and there's many variations that you can use with it, so I'm just dying to show you. So let's go and hang out in the kitchen. All right, welcome back. We're here at the kitchen, and the first thing I want to show you is how to fabricate the chicken. That's the chef school term for it. But we're making a chicken stew, which is really a simple, delicious, just one pot kind of wonder dish. But the first thing we're going to do is going to break down our chicken. So this is a whole chicken, and then this, depending on how, you can definitely feed a family of 6 with this chicken, even more. So we're gonna first fabricate it, which means break it into pieces. So we're gonna do legs, thighs, wings, and breast. With your chicken, you never wanna wash chicken. You wanna just pat dry it after it comes out of the bag. You wanna make sure that there's no weird looking things or smells coming out of your chicken. This one, funny enough, had a couple of feathers, which might be kind of gross, but we just plug them out. I mean, chickens have feathers, so it's okay. And then you want a good sized knife, clean hands, clean knife, a cutting board that's going to not be used for anything else. And then I wanted to show you this because we have some stuff here that's gonna go in the chicken. We're gonna push it a little bit. So you don't want any chance on getting any of this raw chicken into our vegetables. Even though we're gonna cook them, you always wanna just be safe. For the chicken, like I said, this is the whole chicken, and there's excess fat in here, so we're gonna start by removing some of that. We're not gonna need any of that right now. And then we're gonna start with the chicken. So this is the leg. We're gonna come in here, and there's a joint bone there. And if you hit it in the right angle, then it's gonna break down perfectly like that. And then we're gonna start doing that with the other leg. You find that little gap in between the joints, and then you kind of work your knife around it. And if you want to, you can come from the other side. And then you'll find the end of that bone as well. So we have our legs right here. We're gonna turn it around. You can get your wings out of the way as well. Same thing, you're gonna pick up the chicken and come around. And let gravity help you. So I'm using gravity to hold the chicken down. And as you can see, my cutting board's doing a little dance here. So to avoid that, which I should have done, you put a little towel underneath, and then your board does not move as much. So I'm still holding the chicken over here, and I'm still working my knife around it. And I like the wings. Some people don't use the wings, and you can make great stock out of the wings, but I do like the wings, and my cousin, who is the master of this recipe, loves wings, so we're gonna keep him in here. And now we have our breast right here, and the breast has a breastbone in the middle. So we're gonna come in the middle, just like if you were carving, and you're gonna carving your turkey for Thanksgiving. It's just a bigger bird, and you're gonna come down that breastbone, and you're gonna follow the line of the breastbone all the way down. You could use or leave the bone in the breast because everything else has bone, but I think because it's such a larger piece, we're gonna leave it without a bone. So nobody's really gonna eat this much chicken when compared to the other sizes, so we're gonna cut it in half. So each breast is gonna serve 2 people, and a chicken has 2 breasts. And then we're gonna go to the other breast and do the same thing. Here you will feel the breastbone, and we're just working against the breastbone in order to get our chicken out. And then you feel this bone right here. And then we're working around. And remember, we're making this a boneless chicken breast. And then you're gonna work all the way around it. This looks like the other one. I'm leaving the skin on because the skin has a lot of flavor. But see, there's a little extra skin we're not gonna need, so that's gonna go on the side as well. And we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna split our chicken breast into 2 pieces. So now we have 4 pieces of chicken breast. We have our legs. We have our wings. And then all we have is our thighs, which is my favorite part of the chicken. And then we're gonna come on this angle and then remove the thighs. The thighs are just delicious because it's kind of like a dark meat, very flavorful sort of part of the chicken. If you hear little steps in the kitchen, today we have our friend Lita, which is this adorable dog that we have. And she's normally really chill and hangs out outside, but today she's decided that she wants to be the center of the attention. So, which is fine. It doesn't bother me. So this chicken right here, we have all the bones of the chicken. We're going to reserve this because we're going to make some soup down the line. So if you have this same situation, just put it in a Ziploc bag and throw it in the freezer until you're ready to use it. Now, this cutting board with the chicken and stuff, we're going to put it in the sink. I'm going to go wash my hands, and then we're going to reset for our cameras in the kitchen. So I'm going to show you the whole process of how to make this awesome chicken soup. See you guys soon. Alright, we're back in the kitchen. Remember, our chicken is already being broken down into pieces. The one thing I didn't do on camera, which I wanted to show you, is I salt and peppered it. That's generous amount of salt and pepper on both sides. And what I do, and you should too, is I press it down. After I salt and pepper anything, really a steak, piece of fish, you pat it or press it down in order for the salt and the pepper to adhere to the chicken. So now we have this new addition to our kitchen, which is a Dutch oven, and I got a cool color. I just want you to know. And this is a larger one. This cool set came with two, and I think this is going to be enough. But it's still not enough to brown all the chicken at once. So we're going to do this in batches, which is what I want you to do. The idea of browning something is that you brown something. It's not stewing it. It's not just getting it. So you definitely want to develop the caramelization of the skin of the chicken, and you want to get some color in there because that's how you know you're doing that. So in here, the cool thing about this, and you don't have to go out and buy one. You can just do it in a pot. I just happened to see it on sale. But the cool thing about these things is that they hold their heat really well. And once you put the lid, it's such a heavy lid that it allows for things to cook in a perfect kind of environment. So we have our pot here. It's been going on for a good, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 minutes. We're going to add some oil. This is actually canola oil. We're going to add a couple of tablespoons of the oil on the bottom. And then we're going to start browning our chicken. For something like this, we have about, well, actually, I can tell you, we have about 12 pieces of chicken here. So we're going to do it most likely in 2 batches. Chicken is something that when you handle it raw, it's fine. Just make sure that you wash your hands, and that includes your nails and everything. So I like using my hands in the restaurants. We use our hands. So you don't have to. You can use tongs if you want to. But what I want to make sure that you understand is that we're going to put our chicken skin side down because that's the presentation side, and that's where the fat is. So we want to render some of the fat, and that fat, if there's a lot of it, we're going to remove some of it before we cook the next step of the chicken, but also flavors the veggies that we're going to cook. So now, this has been going on for a while. As I've shown before, there's a sound test that works to see how hot things are, and it's that sizzle. If there's no sizzle, then you might want to wait until, not might, but you should wait because you don't want to put just chicken in cold oil because it's definitely not going to caramelize the one. So we're going to go in there with one, and then this is our thigh. I'm sorry, that's our breast. Here is another breast. We have 4 of those pieces. Same thing, all skin side down. And then we have our thigh. And then we're doing one of each so you guys can see the process. And I'm not going to bore you. I'm not going to show you the whole process, but I definitely want to show you when I flip the chicken because that's when the caramelization part of it has happened. But this process will take a good 7 minutes on each side. And then the chicken still needs more cooking, but that's fine because we're going to add everything in this pot and then add some liquid to flavor things. And the chicken's going to finish cooking then. So we have our wing, and I think that's good. And then the next time we're going to do the rest of it. So as you see, I have not messed with the chicken. Let the chicken be free. Let the chicken do its thing. If you go in there and start picking at it with a fork, it's going to pull apart because the skin has still not released itself from the bottom of the pan, but trust me, it will. So you can watch it. It's going to take a little bit, so we might come back and speed things up so it's not boring for you. But we will come back and definitely show you when I flip the chicken because that's important. See you guys soon. so we've been browning our chicken. We did it in 2 batches, like I mentioned. So this is the end of batch 2, I guess. And if you can see, I'm going to lift one up so you can actually see it in that close-up. We're looking for this kind of browning. So we want to almost feel it. It should almost have a little crispiness to it. And then we're going to start flipping the rest of our breast. And then we have a chicken wing over here. So you're looking for golden brown. You're looking not for the chicken to be fully cooked, like I mentioned. Don't try to eat this chicken yet. It's not fully cooked. We're just searing the chicken, releasing some of those chickeny flavors where we're going to saute our veggies. And I have some that is already done. And I'm about maybe a minute away from removing this from the fire. And then we're going to start adding our other ingredients. So we're almost there. This kitchen's smelling really good. It smells like, I don't know, like a Sunday at your mom's house. And we'll see you guys back when we start adding the rest of the ingredients. All right, welcome back to our chicken stew episode. So our chicken's not fully cooked. I almost messed up with our chicken's not fully cooked. Do not eat it right now. Our chicken is fully browned. Our pot is here. I removed a little bit of the excess fat / oil that we had in here, but I left some of it. And if you look at the pot from camera 2, we're fancy here, there is all these like little brown bits in the oil, and we want to save those. So I lowered the heat of my pot, so we're about low-medium because this pot holds the heat very well, and then we're going to see how it does. And now, trust me, everything is going to be added into this pot. We're going to cover the pot, and we're going to go enjoy life for about 30 to 35 minutes, maybe 40 minutes. And then our meal will be ready. So all this work that we had done, chopping the veggies and having everything ready, is going to pay off because we no longer have to watch this happening. It's going to happen on its own. Trust me. So we're adding the white onion. And we're going to cook the white onion a little bit until it's translucent. And this is the time where we're going to start moving those bits from the bottom. This is going to take a couple of minutes, but we are going to add a bunch of different things, and this is going to keep cooking once the chicken goes back in here. So the onion is definitely not going to be crunchy or have any sort of raw onion flavor. The next thing that we do add, not quite yet, but almost, is going to be the tomato paste. I love cooking with tomato paste because it's one of those ingredients that gives you the mouthfeel and taste of something that's been cooked for a long time. So it's already done for you. So tomato paste is basically tomatoes that have been cooked until the water content comes out, and you're left with that sweetness, smokiness almost of tomatoes. So I love that as an ingredient in this dish. So in about 1 minute or so, we're going to add our tomato paste. We're going to cook it a little bit, and then this dish, you can change things around, and traditionally, where I come from in Peru, it's potatoes, carrots, and that's about it. We've made it a little more fancy by adding zucchini, and then we found all these cool types of carrots. So the carrots, you're going to look at the carrots and go, that's not a carrot, but it is. We have regular, traditional orange carrots, and then I found some yellow carrots and some purple carrots, and then the zucchini is just something that's going to give it a little more, I don't know, a healthy kind of angle to the dish, which is great. Remember, my fire is at about, a little low, medium, maybe. And but you can make this as simple as just carrots and potatoes. Some people eat it with rice. I think that with the potatoes and the veggies, you don't really need the rice, even though I love rice. But it's definitely something that's very hearty. And I guess we don't have chili in Peru, so this is sort of our not version of chili, but something that kind of we think of it as a chili kind of dish where you just sit down and share and everything happens in the same pot. So at this point, I'm going to add my tomato paste. And the ingredients are listed on the bottom. That was 1 tablespoon of tomato paste. And then we're going to brown it a little bit. One thing that I'm looking at my ingredients here that I did not get out is my mushrooms. So my mushrooms are still in the fridge, but they're already cleaned and ready to go. So we're going to add those shortly after. But those don't come in towards the end. So I just still want to show you the process of this. So we have our tomato paste and our onions. And at this point, we're gonna add our flour, and the flour is going to thicken things up. And it's not a lot of flour. We're adding a tablespoon of flour, and at this point we're gonna, and the flour flavor is gonna cook off, and this is gonna make sort of like a gravy-like consistency once we add the water, or in this case we're gonna add chicken broth to it. So at this point we're gonna add garlic and tomato. Garlic is about a tablespoon of garlic, and then our crushed tomatoes, which these are from the restaurant. So I own, as some of you guys know, I own a restaurant called Mouthful Eatery, and the number one dish there is lomo saltado, which is a very Peruvian dish. And for the lomo saltado, which is sort of a stir fry with steak, skirt steak in the case of our restaurant, we use onions and tomatoes, and the tomatoes, we use the outer part of the tomato, so we always end up with the heart of the tomato. And we use that for different things like soups, and we use that for our barbecue sauce that we make a different dish with. But instead of buying another tomato product, we use certain things that we use for a part of the tomato for something, and then use it for another recipe. And we do that with a few things. So that's what I brought from the store today, is just some tomatoes. At home, you can just use crushed tomatoes that they sell in a can, or grab yourself a couple of Roma tomatoes and just chop them finely. And then at this point, we're going to add our liquids now. And for that, we have our red wine. This happens to be a Malbec that my cousin got yesterday, and he doesn't know I'm using it. And then we're going to crank up the heat a little bit more. And we want to cook the red wine, the alcohol part of the red wine out. And that's going to happen fairly soon because this pot is very hot right now. And to this, we are going to add the other liquid, which could be water. In this case, we're adding 2 cups of chicken stock, which I had in the fridge, but you could easily add water. There's going to be a lot of flavor in the dish already, so don't complicate your life. If not having chicken stock is going to make you not make the dish, then I'd rather not do that. I'd rather you make the dish. We found our mushrooms, so those are back in the game. Our tomato paste and red wine have been reducing for a while, so we're going to add our chicken stock. That was 2 cups. I'm going to move this over here. And then to this, we're going to start adding the aromatics. In this case, we have some dry herbs. We have basil, we have oregano, we have bay leaf. And then we also have cumin, which I love cooking with. So cumin is in here. We're going to add those right now. Just be careful. At this point, the bay leaf is going to go in, and that's awesome, but you don't want to crush it, so you just want to lay it there. The reason for that being that it's not something you want to eat, so if you want to remove it towards the end, and or make the person who gets the bay leaf and they're serving to the dishes, that's what happened in my household. And here we have the cumin, the oregano, and the basil. We're adding those in there. And it's going to be not like a soupy dish. It's going to be more like a gravy-like dish, especially with the addition of the flour. So we haven't, as you see, we haven't added any salt and pepper. So this would be a good point in which I'm going to taste. And I'm going to see where we are with that. Grab a little spoon. It's good. I can taste the acidity of the tomato. I can taste a little bit of the chicken flavor from the browning of the chicken. But it definitely needs salt. And it definitely needs pepper. So we're going to add salt. And that's why you taste. You want to taste because this is what, you might like it a little less or more salty than I like it. You might love your pepper like I do, or you might like a little bit of a lighter hand on the pepper. But that's why you taste, and that's why we're doing this right now. So now we have this awesome gravy-like flavor in here. We're going to do one more taste. We're going to use the other side of the spoon. Yeah, that's really there. So now we're going to add our veggies. So most of our veggies are going to go in there. The only thing that's not going to go in there is the peas, because those take like a second to cook. So we're going to go with our potatoes. And I got fancy today. We found some purple potatoes, yellow potatoes, and red potatoes. If you don't have that, you can add russet potatoes. It doesn't have to be exactly how I'm making it. It could be, I don't know, squash if you want to. I'm just at the traditional ways to add potatoes. So that's what I'm doing. But they can just be russet potatoes. They don't have to be fancy potatoes. And then we're going to move those around. And those are going to cook. Imagine, so instead of cooking in water, they're cooking in this awesome liquid. So they're going to be very flavorful. Same thing for the carrots. We found some great carrots. We have yellow carrots, purple carrots, and regular orange carrots, I guess. We're adding those in there. Those are going to take a little bit longer. That's what we're going to add in at the beginning. But they're not cut. We didn't leave the potato whole, so they're not going to take, hours. It's going to take about 45 minutes at the most. At this point, we're going to add our zucchini. And then we're going to go back with our chicken. So the chicken's going to come back in here now. Something that's going to happen to your chicken when it's resting, it's going to release all this juices, all this liquid. That is probably much better than any chicken stock you're ever going to buy or make, because it's already been browned and it's just delicious flavor. So we're going to add that liquid in there too. So we're going to grab our chicken, and something I want to show you is that we're not just going to lay it in there. We're going to push the chicken in there, and this is how you braise something. So braising is cooking something, not boiling something. It's not cooked in a lot of liquid, but it's cooked in enough liquid that it stays moist and juicy. So we're doing all our chicken in there, and then I'm picking the thicker parts of the chicken to go in here, and then the lighter or smaller parts like the wings or something, if they need to, they can lay on top. So this chicken leg is a little bit bigger, so we're going to go in there like that. And then the wings, I think I could actually probably manage to find a home for them in there. So stick them in there, push them in there, show the chicken who's running the kitchen. So there's another little piece of chicken here that's going to go on top. And then this is what I was talking about, this little bit of awesome liquid. You want to add that in there. If you have a little bit of water, which I do from my morning coffee, we're going to add that in there and release all those flavors. Why not, right? You just work so hard to make that chicken taste good. So you can see the chicken sticking out of your pot. You can see your veggies. You can see the bay leaf. We have all our other ingredients in here. So we're going to add the last veggie that we're going to add right now, which is mushrooms. These are just your basic white mushrooms. You can get fancy and get oyster mushrooms, cremini mushrooms, whatever you want. You don't like mushrooms, don't add mushrooms. It's not going to hurt my feelings. I don't get any endorsements from the Mushroom Federation of America, if there is something called that. And I'm just going to lay them on top, right? Mushrooms are going to steam on that awesome chicken flavor. Oh, you thought you were safe, but you're going back in there. So mushrooms are in. I didn't remove the stems or anything. It's just simple. It's rustic. It's meant to be that way. We already tasted for salt and pepper. We want to do that at the beginning because it's going to be easier to mix things in there. We added veggies that don't have salt and pepper in them, so we don't have to worry about them making things a little more salty or anything. At this point, we're going to get the other part of the pot, which is the lid. We're going to cover this up. We're going to give it a nice seal. You saw it that it was almost, or it was actually bubbling, so it was fully bubbling. And then we're going to lower our high heat into a medium-low heat. And in about 30 minutes, for the very first time, I'm going to come back and uncover it and check things out. We don't want to be checking it out every 2 minutes or 3 minutes because you're going to lose the heat from here. So trust yourself. Nothing is going to happen in the first 30 minutes because we have a good amount of liquid. If we had no liquid, yes, things could burn. But because of the liquid, then we're going to be fine. And then we're going to revisit this in 30 minutes. I'm going to show you where we are. We're going to taste again for salt and pepper. Look at it and see how happy we are with the consistency. We might add a little bit of water if we need to, but we'll come back and revisit this in about half an hour. But most likely in half an hour it's not going to be fully cooked, so it's going to take a good 45 minutes, but it is worth the wait. So see you guys in about half an hour so I can show you where we are with our chicken stew.
So you're going to throw the peas in, put the lid back on immediately, and then talk about the dish a little bit, how to serve family style, what to serve it with, and then serve it out.
Right.
Smile.
All right, welcome back. Our chicken stew has been cooking for about 45 minutes. I checked it out at 30 minutes. And remember, what's going to tell you that your chicken's done or a good reference is the potatoes, because if the potatoes are nice and soft, then your chicken is most likely going to be done. But please get a little piece of chicken, put it on a cutting board, cut a little opening in it, and just make sure that you're cooked all the way through. This is the kind of dish that even if you leave it there for another half an hour or so at low heat, nothing's going to happen to it. It's not going to get overcooked, because the whole thing about a stew or a braise, it's the longer cooking time. So it should be good. So here's our Dutch oven. The last two things that we want to add are the English peas, because those cook in like a split second. They don't really have to cook. It's just going to be the heat of our dish, just heating them through, and then a little bit of parsley here and a little bit of parsley also at the end for presentation. So let's check it out. I haven't opened it in a while, so I'm excited to see what this looks like. All right, look at that. Look at that. If I was wearing glasses, I couldn't see you guys anymore, but I'm not, which is good. I'm going to move the lid out of the way. We're going to add our peas in there. And you can use frozen peas, that's fine. Just let them thaw out a little bit so it doesn't cool your dish down. And then we have some chopped parsley. Be generous with the parsley. We're adding about 2/3 of it now. Then you just want to move it around a little bit and check for the consistency. That awesome juice is great. It's a great sauce for the dish. It's like gravy. So in Peru, we love our rice. We were just talking about that off camera. But we eat this dish with steamed white rice, which is perfectly fine. But we do have the potatoes in there, so you don't really need to. I had some bread in the oven, some French-style bread, so we're going to do that with it. And you want to, since it's such a family-style comfort food kind of thing, you want to serve it. If you want to, and let's say you have a family of 4, just put it in the middle, and then serve the rice in the middle. So you don't have to wait until Christmas or Thanksgiving to have that kind of a dinner. It doesn't have to be turkey or ham or something fancy. It could be chicken and potatoes. But if you make it with love and you have that approach to it, then it's going to feel special no matter what. So we're going to put our chicken in there, and my cousin's home, so we're going to do the wing, and then we have the thigh for me. And Diego, my son, loves this part, which is the leg. And we're going to create a little height by placing it kind of like against each other. And there's another leg right here. Put it in there. Get up there. I'm using tongs because this is obviously extremely hot. And now I'm going to put my tongs to the side, and I'm going to use a spoon because, like mentioned before, it is all about that gravy, those potatoes, those veggies. So we're going to put some on the side here. I see the bay leaf in there. I'm setting that aside. We have some awesome mushrooms in there. We have the zucchini. It's just such a cool little dish. So, and the sauce is a little bit thick from a little bit of that flour that we added in there, but it's not thick where it's too thick. So we have some bread in here. You can lay your bread around it if you want. Remember, you can do this with maybe beans on the side or rice on the side or anything on the side if you want, or as is with a salad. I think that's good. We have some bread in here. We're going to add a little more chopped parsley on top. And for some reason, I always like finishing things with good olive oil. It might not match. It might be kind of crazy because it's not the dish, but I just love the taste of it. So I'm going to do a little bit on the bread and a little bit all around it. And that's it. This is our chicken stew. It's a home-style comfort type of food. My personal favorite thing to cook, my favorite thing to eat. So it's extremely hot. I'm going to cut a little piece of it from the corner. I'm going to make sure that, I already kind of did make sure my potatoes were good, but I want to show you on camera how this kind of braised dish looks like. I'm going to find a little bit of the thigh here. And yeah, it just falls off the bone. And it's great. I'm going to get a little potato in there. It's almost like the inside of a chicken pot pie kind of, It's that feeling that you get when personally I eat a chicken pot pie. I feel like I'm welcomed in somebody's home or in my own home. It's just like, feels like a hug from your aunt that when you were a kid you hated, and then when you get older you're like, oh, I wonder what happened to her. Anyways, that is the show. This is A Seat at My Table. I am Chef Luis Sanchez. Please make this dish. We made it all in one pot. It wasn't hard. It wasn't complicated. try it and let me know and like the show, subscribe to the show, because we're growing as a show and we want to keep doing this for you. So we'll see you next week with another cool recipe. If you have any ideas of things that we want us to do, please let us know. We have a whole team of people here that we're working together to make sure that we give you the best product. So see you guys next week with another episode. Take care.